What's up, guys? And welcome back to another Sideline Squib Dynasty Football Talk DFS edition. We have a special guest today. So we're going over week 5 for the DFS slate, and none other than the co-host, Andrew Lehigh from the podcast, is joining us today to give his takes and to help us hit our core plays for this week. So Andrew, how are you tonight? This is the first time on this one, obviously. Have we been killing it on the normal podcast, but welcome to the DFS side of things.
Man. Yeah, I kind of invited myself, but it is what it is. I had a good time. I always have a good time on our show, obviously. So I wanted to hop on here. I've been engulfed in DFS lately, so I've just been. You and I obviously bounce our own ideas off of each other, so I kind of wanted to come on here and see what we can put together as a team.
Oh yeah, and you can't beat it. So, guys, you have not one, but both of us coming in to give our core plays of the week, ones that we have talked about, ones that we have done individually, and then combined to make sure we come up with another winning lineup. So, last week we were both away and did not make time to get a video out there, so we apologize for that. But like always, you can find all of our DFS content, articles, any of our writers, and everything else, always putting out content on Twitter and on the website at sidelinesquib.com. So make sure to go check that out as well. And if you want more in-depth information on our core plays that we're about to play, click the link below in the comment section or in the description section, and it'll give you a little article or link to an article that gives you a little bit more in-depth on where we're going with this if you need that or not. So, Andrew, we're going to first go over – now, like I said, we weren't here last week, so these core plays that you guys see on the screen was the last time we played. Last time we played was week 3, and we had Cam Newton, who just missed value, Austin Eckler, who jumped through value. Great pick with Austin Eckler. Miles Sanders missed value with 14.7. TJ Hawkinson found the end zone, but really didn't have too many receptions. And then Allen Robinson had a very, very big game there. So all in all, a pretty decent week. We did hit, but that was 2 weeks ago. So let's go ahead and jump into week 5. And Andrew, let's start us off at the quarterback position. Who do you like this week for DraftKings main slate?
Yeah, I think everyone is going to be kind of clamoring towards the Giants-Dallas game when it comes to game stacking, but I have actually turned my attention to the Carolina-Atlanta game. We've talked ad nauseum about how bad Carolina's defense has been, or what we projected them to be going into the season, and they've actually played pretty well, but they are still going to be giving up quite a bit of passing yards, and one thing that's really to note here is they struggle to get a pass rush on Matt Ryan at all. So in games where teams have struggled to generate pressure, both the Seattle and the Dallas game, Matt Ryan has thrown for 67% completion rate, 723 yards, and 6 touchdowns to just 1 interception. The game total is the 4th highest on the slate. And Atlanta has a very quick pace with 3rd in offensive snaps through 4 weeks. And then they're top 7 in the red zone snaps as well. So I do expect a back-and-forth game. Atlanta can't stop anyone, so Carolina should be able to be putting on points as well. So you can kind of run it back if you want to kind of game stack this. I think Matt Ryan is a very easy, cheaper option on DraftKings that you're able to still get some studs fit into your lineup with a massive upside with Matt Ryan.
All right, on to the running back position. Who do you have at running back this week for DraftKings main slate?
Yeah, so I feel I really was conflicted on this. I've got a couple running backs that I think are really, really smash plays, but I really hesitated in mentioning or including Clyde Edwards-Helaire as the core play this week, really because I'm worried about fandom and bias and it coming off as like, oh, he's a Chiefs fan, so here comes Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But no, this is a perfect – I mean, there's no better spot right now for the Chiefs if you're going to stack that game as well. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire can be a standalone piece, doesn't need to be stacked just because of his usage. He is 5th in broken tackles, 11th in broken tackles per attempt. He faces a Raiders team who have missed the 2nd most tackles in the league, and Las Vegas is 28th in adjusted line yards. He has a 34.7% opportunity share, which opportunity share is basically carries plus targets. So that's, as you know, they're the second highest. And he's going to be, he's going to be a focal point of this offense no matter what the game script is, and as he has been for the first 3 weeks. And he's on pace to, he's actually had a really good year so far, and he's actually left points on the board as far as expected fantasy points. He's well over 20 points left on the football field that he has not accumulated for rosters. So I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be a must play for me this week, and can really be a pillar in most lineups and just kind of build around him.
Yeah, I hate it because I have him in a bunch of my lineups as well, and much that we have talked about by building lineups together, and they play against the Raiders. So
you can run it back with Josh Jacobs too. You don't want to have them both in the same lineup, but you can, if you want to get a little quirky and get a little different. I think Josh Jacobs I think people will see Josh Jacobs and say, well, they're going to be trailing this whole game and he's not going to be as involved. But I think the Raiders have done a good job of giving him some more targets in the air. And if it does end up staying remotely close, Jacobs is obviously going to be the reason for that. Yeah,
I agree. And talking about a great game stack, when you talked about Matt Ryan, is I'm going to lean towards DJ Moore. I know we missed on him a few weeks back. Maybe it was week 2, but ever since the emergence of Robbie Anderson after reuniting with Coach Rule, since their Temple days, Robbie Anderson has been like that focal point, kind of having a little breakout, but this is a perfect spot for DJ Moore to break out again, facing a very, very bad Atlanta defense. The Falcons are bottom 3rd in points per game allowed to wide receiver. So that's within the top 10 of most points given up to the wide receiver position. It's a great time to jump on DJ Moore, let him reclaim that number 1 wide receiver spot on the team. And early look has ownership percentages split with him and Robbie Anderson. So usually you don't see that with a wide receiver 1 and a guy who's streaky, but this could leave the ownership levels down for a good breakout game for DJ Moore going up against the Atlanta Falcons. As far as tight end, you are going to have a couple very good options this week. Again, Travis Kelce's one, but he's, it's Travis Kelce. You're going up against the Raiders. You have that there. But I kind of I'm going to lean towards George Kittle. He came back from his injury. He's $6,600 on DraftKings, which is probably, I forget what it was, whether it's the top or the second to the top. Is very pricey, which he will be every week. But he had a huge return last week, 15 catches for 183 yards and a touchdown. And now Jimmy G is going to come back, that's his prime target. So I'm really looking forward to, obviously it's going to be hard to duplicate or replicate those in numbers, but he's in a very, very good spot facing a very mediocre Miami defense who needs to win. This has a chance to be another game where George Kittle is going to be the focal point of this offense, and the game's going to run around him again. So look for George Kittle to put up great numbers at 6,600. I'm willing to take that price at tight end, get him in my core lineups, and you'll see via some of the articles that we write on the website that there will be more value plays at other positions to go ahead and eat this salary cap at the tight end position. So, guys, before we jump into the Sideline Squibs Stud of the Week, I want to thank all of our sponsors out there, TrophySmack.com, as you see on the scrolling bar. If you need a trophy or belt for your fantasy football league, swing over to TrophySmack.com. Use code SQUIB, get yourself a free championship ring. We have Thrive Fantasy app. We have Prize Picks, all sorts of different things out there for you to do. Use our code SQUIB and you will get different sort of money off, percentage off, everything like that. Go out there, beat the Sharks, get your money, and join us in taking home some green. So, Andrew, I'll let you jump first. First thoughts on the Squib Stud of the Week, and then I'll take us out here.
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to surprise anybody here with Ezekiel Elliott. He probably will be the highest owned player on DraftKings, regardless of his price tag. Just the tier below him. I mean, you're looking, if you're pivoting off of him, it's like James Conner at 6,900, and then you have like Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 6,800. It makes too much sense to get Ezekiel Elliott here versus the Giants. We all expect the Cowboys to put up points, and they're unable to stop anyone from putting up points. So that's why it's a popular game stack. But if you don't want to go game stack and you want to just plop in a stud, I think you can absolutely do that with Zeke and just have him as a standalone. We talked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and his opportunity share at 34.2 or 34.7%. Zeke's is at 34.2%. I mean, they're feeding him literally through the air and on the ground, and it's not going to be any different versus the Giants. He seems to be game script independent, which we're obviously shooting for when it comes to putting some pillars, putting some core pieces together in a lineup.
No, and I absolutely love it. Coming off a huge loss to the Cleveland Browns, where everybody on the field scored except for Zeke Elliott. So I think he is going to be hungry. He's going to eat. He's going to run all over the New York Giants. And that's not to mention, what you talked about. He's averaging just 6 receptions a game out of the backfield. So he's being used very, very well. I think he had 3 receptions, 6 receptions, 8, something like that, or 6, 8. So he's still being used out of the backfield, which is what we like to see, especially out of a guy that we want to have, our normal value plus some for our stud of the week, to make sure that we're really, really putting him in every single lineup, making sure he's hitting value and really going to put us in the green when it comes to DraftKings. So Sideline Squib's stud of the week is going to be running back Zeke Elliott. Guys, that wraps up our DK core plays for DraftKings. If you have any other questions or would like to know a little bit about our roster construction going forward, swing over to sidelinesquib.com or reach out to either of us on Twitter. I am at Sideline Squib and Andrew is at Do or Die Nasty. So Andrew, again, thanks for joining us. Everybody, reach back out. Let's try to get into the money this weekend, and we'll see you Saturday night on the live stream podcast.